vote, I promise you, we will win Iowa and we will win this election. And we'll remind the world why this is the greatest nation on earth. God bless you and God bless America.
Boston Red here with Friday Java, a weekly magazine of political theory, polling, and commentary. It is part of the Boston Red family, and for the hundreds of thousands of people that have joined us over the last 4 years in an exciting period in history called the election of Barack Obama, we introduce you to the final phase, the re-election campaign, two theories, pundits, people that make up this fascinating journey. We are part of the Obama network. For that, we make no apologies. What we pledge to do is give you the facts on a bridge to history, what body politics is, the most up-to-date theories of political science and psychology. Stay tuned for this incredible ride. Boston Red, peace out.
Agency's actions before your counsel's office found out on April 22nd, and when they did find out, do you think that you should have learned about it before you learned about it from news reports, as you said last Friday? And also, are you opposed to there being a special counsel appointed to lead the Justice Department investigation? And also, Mr. Prime Minister, what is the status on efforts to normalize relations with Israel? And do you still plan to go to Gaza in the coming weeks? Thanks.
Okay. Well, with respect to the IRS, I spoke to this yesterday. My main concern is fixing a problem. And we began that process yesterday by asking and accepting the resignation of the acting director there. We will be putting in new leadership that will be able to make sure that following up on the IG audit, that we gather up all the facts, that we hold accountable those who have taken these outrageous actions. As I said last night, it is just simply unacceptable for there to even be a hint of partisanship or ideology when it comes to the application of our tax laws. I am going to go ahead and ask folks, why don't we get a couple of Marines? They're going to look good next to us, just because I want to. I've got a change of suits, but I don't know about our prime minister. There we go. That's good. You guys, I'm sorry about. But let me make sure that I answer your specific question. I can assure you that I certainly did not know anything about the IG report before the IG report had been leaked through the press. Typically, the IG reports are not supposed to be widely distributed or shared. They tend to be, a process that everybody's trying to protect the integrity of. But what I'm absolutely certain of is that the actions that were described in that IG report are unacceptable. So, in addition to making sure that we've got a new acting director there, we're also going to make sure that we gather up the facts and hold accountable and responsible anybody who was involved in this. We're going to make sure that we identify any structural or management issues to prevent something like this from happening again. We're going to make sure that we are accepting all of the recommendations that the IG has in the report, and I'm looking forward to working with Congress to fully investigate what happened, make sure that it doesn't happen again, and also look at some of the laws that create a bunch of ambiguity in which the IRS may not have enough guidance and not be clear about what exactly they need to be doing and doing it right so that the American people have confidence that the tax laws are being applied fairly and evenly. So, in terms of the White House and reporting, I think that, you've gotten that information from Mr. Carney and others. I promise you this, that the minute I found out about it, then my main focus is making sure that we get the thing fixed. I think that it's going to be sufficient for us to be working with Congress. They've got a whole bunch of committees. We've got IGs already there. The IG has done an audit. It's now, my understanding, going to be recommending an investigation. Attorney General Holder also announced a criminal investigation of what happened. Between those investigations, I think we're going to be able to figure out exactly what happened, who was involved, what went wrong, and we're going to be able to implement steps to fix it. And that ultimately is the main priority that I have, but also I think the American people have. They understand that we've got an agency that has enormous potential power and is involved in everybody's lives. And that's part of the reason why it's been treated as a quasi-independent institution. But that's also why we've got to make sure that it is doing its job scrupulously and without even a hint of bias or a hint that somehow they're favoring one group over another. And as I said yesterday, I'm outraged by this in part because, look, I'm a public figure. If a future administration is starting to use the tax laws to favor one party over another or one political view over another, obviously we're all vulnerable. And that's why, as I've said, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. You should be equally outraged at even the prospect that the IRS might not be acting with the kind of complete neutrality that we expect. And I think we're going to be able to fix it. We're going to be able to get there and get it done, and we've already begun that process, and we're going to keep on going until it's finished. Yeah, I'll let you guys engage in those comparisons, and you can go ahead and read the history, I think, and draw your own conclusions. My concern is making sure that if there's a problem in the government, that we fix it. That's my responsibility, and that's what we're going to do. That's true with respect to the IRS and making sure that they apply the laws the way they were intended. That's true with respect to the security of our diplomats, which is why we're going to need to work with Congress to make sure that there's adequate funding for what's necessary out there. Now, with respect to the Department of Justice, I'm not going to comment on a specific and pending case, but I can talk broadly about the balance that we have to strike. Leaks related to national security can put people at risk. They can put men and women in uniform that I've sent into the battlefield at risk. They can put some of our intelligence officers who are in various dangerous situations that are easily compromised at risk. U.S. national security is dependent on those folks being able to operate with confidence that folks back home have their backs. So they're not just left out there high and dry and potentially put in even more danger than they may already be. And so I make no apologies, and I don't think the American people would expect me as Commander-in-Chief not to be concerned about information that might compromise their missions or might get them killed. Now, the flip side of it is we also live in a democracy where a free press, free expression, and the open flow of information helps hold me accountable, helps hold our government accountable, and helps our democracy function. The whole reason I got involved in politics is because I believe so deeply in that democracy and that process. So, the whole goal of this Media Shield law that was worked on and largely endorsed by folks like the Washington Post editorial page and by prosecutors was finding a way to strike that balance appropriately. And to the extent that this case, which we still don't know all the details of, to the extent that this case has prompted renewed interest about how do we strike that balance properly, then I think now's the time for us to go ahead and revisit that legislation. I think that's a worthy conversation to have, and I think that's important. But I also think it's important to recognize that when we express concern about leaks at a time when I've still got 60,000 plus troops in Afghanistan, and I've still got a whole bunch of intelligence officers around the world who are in risky situations, in outposts that in some cases are as dangerous as the outpost in Benghazi.
This is the May 17th edition of Friday Job at Boston Red here. The coffee is on, it's percolating away, and so are the politics of the day. We'll go to the University of Virginia and Larry Sabato's crystal ball. We'll start there, and then we'll do a Pew survey on Benghazi. But first we'll go to Larry Sabato, and after we have finished with the latest, as they say, numbers, the statistics that bound amongst us, we'll talk a little bit about what happened out in Las Vegas today. The former football player O.J. Simpson is asking for a retrial out there in Douglas County in the city of Las Vegas. He is offering a number of reasons that he received from Galata, his counsel at the time, ineffective representation, ineffective counsel as we call it. He was on the stand on Wednesday, and if you get the last program, you'll hear some of his testimony. We'll have some more of that on the week that was, which airs on the weekend. But first we go to Larry Sabato here. This is by Godfrey Skelly. He's there at the University of Virginia Center for Politics. You're Not From Around Here is the title of this particular polemic. It starts out, I was born in America, I live in America, I shall die in America. That was Daniel Webster. Daniel Webster died in America in 1852. His political legacy does not belong to just one state, but to two, New Hampshire and, of course, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. He was born in New Hampshire. Webster represented a granite state in the House of Representatives from 1813 to 1817. But then he moved to Massachusetts to seek an improvement in his political career, only to wind up returning to the House as a Bay State congressman in 1823. Webster went on to become a lengthy stay in the Senate. He became a Senate, becoming part of the upper house with none other than Henry Clay, the great compromiser, John C. Calhoun. As a transplanted New Hampshire type representing the Commonwealth, Webster's individual case demonstrates how politics can be affected by the movement of Americans from one state to another. In the aftermath of the 2012 election, the demographics as destiny discussion has dominated the political analysis, with the latest data being provided last week by the census report on the 2012 election. But one demographic statistic hasn't received much attention in the conversation: state nativity rates. That is the percentage of people residing in a state who were born there. Does the statistic tell us anything about the politics of the state? If we order states by state nativity percentage, chart 1, and you'll see it down there, while also considering which party each state supported in 2012, we find there are more blue states and red states with lower levels of nativity. Yet it is obvious that high native